Here's to you, sir. My son and my friend. Holy shit, that's good.
Folks, we're live. Welcome to What Do You Say, Dad? A father-son podcast about life, OCD, and other bullshit. I am Hunter Sansone. Alongside me is my co-host, my dad, Gregg Sansone. Gregg, tell the folks hello.
Hello.
There we go. That's nice.
Thank you.
Let me make one thing clear. If you want to talk to the people, look into the center camera.
Got it.
Is that okay with you, or do you not like
no,
that?
I love the center camera. It centers me.
You can also talk to me, too. So, I mean, like, you know.
I'm just going to do what I want.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. All right. Reason for doing this podcast, everybody, 2025, everybody's got a podcast nowadays. We want to focus on a few key things. OCD, mental health, family dynamics, father-son relationships, overcoming obstacles, hard times, all that crazy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Motivation, we want to touch on it all. So for those of you who don't know us, I'd say people would say we're pretty intense individuals.
Very intense.
So if we're going to kind of dive into that, I feel like the most logical place to start would be OCD.
Yes.
Because
I'm 61 and still having fun. I do want to say that.
That's nice. Yeah. 61 and having fun.
Still having fun.
Still having fun. Got it. You're a life coach.
Yep.
So your whole life you're in business. Talk about that a little bit. So you're in business, but your passion, helping people with OCD.
Yep.
Is that okay to ask you about?
Yeah.
Not?
You just threw two questions at me. I was trying to figure out which one to go with. So bottom line is, yes, passionate about two things: being an entrepreneur, self-employed, and OCD and OCD recovery. OCD really just totally turned my world absolutely upside down when I was 18 years old, second semester of my freshman year in college. I don't remember it very much, do I? Anyway, so it was remarkable. I don't want to get into too many details because I'll be sitting here talking forever unless you ask me questions.
Well, I mean, you go as far as you want with it, but I think one of the things is OCD is a pretty misunderstood.
Oh, yeah. It's not the washing your hands bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. But mine, and there's so much more intensity to OCD than the TV thinks and everybody thinks it is out there mainstream. It's crippling. It's absolutely crippling. And it's scary. And it's a fight or flight response. And you're in it a lot. And that ain't fun.
How did it manifest itself for you? Like, how did it first manifest itself?
So mine is mental OCD, not the behavioral where I got to wash my hands or check door locks or things like that. Mine is cognitive OCD, mental thoughts. So intrusive thoughts.
Like, what's an example of that?
Intrusive thoughts, so thoughts you don't want. So an example of that would be...
what if a truck fell out of the sky and hit me?
Yeah, not a truck, because there aren't any up there. But if something fell out of the sky and hit me, right,
okay.
That's a perfect example.
Because I feel like from my experience with intrusive thoughts, they're not logical.
They're not
so
logical.
So it could be, is a truck going to fall out of the sky and kill me?
Yes, I just never thought of a truck. But yes, you're right. I have thought about... That'd be incredible. I have... Unfucking believable.
Yeah, that would be.
I have thought about something falling out. What if something fell out of the sky and hit me? So it's a grasp for certainty. Another thing was like I would move something and thought would come to my mind, how do I know God didn't want that there before I moved it? What the hell?
Would you say that type of OCD is what is called moral scrupulosity?
Yeah, that's called, it's not...
Religious?
Yeah, it is. It is scrupulosity. It's scrupulosity. And it is religious, and it is religious moral. I've got both, the religious and the moral.
Right.
So how do I know this is right? Like if I'm negotiating, it's like, oh, is this unfair because maybe I'm smarter than this guy and he hasn't thought about this? It's all bullshit stuff. It's like negotiating.
An obsession with being a good person.
Okay.
But it's based in fear.
Fear.
Yeah.
It's not based on some higher value that you truly want to aspire to.
Right. And as you love to say, fuck fear.
That's right. Fuck fear. Fuck you.
Wow. Okay.
Fuck you.
Okay. Anything else after that?
And by all means, fuck me.
Wow. All right.
So what that basically means, if I can tell you without you saying it. Okay. I appreciate it because it's powerful for me.
Right.
Fuck fear means you don't let it stop you. You feel like you're going to die and you do it anyway. Literally, you feel like you're going to die and you do it anyway because it's so scary. Fuck you means not to give a shit what anybody out there thinks about you. You have a panic attack, you have a freak out attack, you're worried about other people. Fuck them.
Because that's what all that is rooted in, is a fear of how you're going to be perceived. Am I right?
That's some of it.
Right.
Some of it is just fear. You're afraid of
You're
God.
just afraid.
You're afraid.
Yeah.
It can be.
So
it
when
can
you
be
say
whatever.
fuck off to fear, I'll let you continue.
You say fuck off to fear, right? And then you say fuck off to everybody else out there, what they think about you. That's a huge one.
Right.
Then the fuck me part,
By all means.
by all means, that's the most important part, because that's when my immediate gratification, pleasure, smaller minded self, comfort self the smaller self wants to not push outside the comfort zone. And the way you
Right.
get better from OCD is you push outside the comfort zone. You kick your own ass at the pace you're ready to. So that's definitely got to be there by all means. Fuck yourself.
And so when
Your small self.
when you were first discovering this, your freshman year of college, I think you said, when you were discovering these intrusive thoughts, you've told me.
I mean, I discovered it. They hit like a fucking rock.
You didn't know, there wasn't really help out there that you were knowledgeable about.
No.
So I mean, I feel
1981.
yeah, because some people deal with
82.
OCD. You made this your mission to conquer OCD and then help others with it, because it was something that you had to deal with yourself for the most part in the beginning.
In 17 years, nobody knew shit about it.
So it took you 17 years before you got real help?
Yes. I went from 18 to 35 before I actually got real help. And the guy said to me, you have OCD. And I was like, what is that? And he started telling me, and it was like, finally, somebody understands this shit.
Right.
I was resistant, but I started on medicine and therapy and treatment. And the therapy and treatment was shit, but the medicine helped about 20 or 30% until I got to 42 years old, 7 years later. Then I met this guy out of New York, Stephen Phillipson, in Skyping. Done to him for 2 years. And he is the one who changed my life at 42 years old. I'm 61 now. And he basically said, you move towards the fear. You do the forbidden thing that scares the shit out of you. You're scared about what God might think. You do something that you think he wouldn't like. And those are called exposures. It's the gold standard treatment for OCD recovery. Exposure response prevention, if you Google it.
And is that your signature method of treatment for yourself and helping others, is exposures?
Yes, and I've got, yes.
And the best way, if you were to summarize that for somebody on the most basic level?
An exposure is what you are afraid of. You purposely bring it on, and you do nothing to relieve the anxiety. You allow the anxiety to leave on its own. Then you have reconditioned your brain.
Wow. So if somebody has OCD with germs and being clean, the best exposure they could do would be to jump in a pile of mud.
Absolutely. Roll around in that mud down there.
Got it.
That would be the best
thing.
Now,
and don't tense up and resist it.
No. Now, of course, it's
not easy.
It's gradual baby steps. You can't do it all at once.
Cold turkey, that's not.
What it'll be is, it won't be somebody rolling around in the mud that has germ OCD. What it'll be is they wash their hands 15 times a day. So now they'll cut down to 14.
Got it.
Or they'll cut down the time from washing from a minute to 53 seconds.
Right.
And then to 4, because it feels like you're going to die. And so I wrote a book called Commit Emotional Suicide. And the reason I titled it that is because I wanted the title to show what gave me my life back. And the therapist said to me one time, Greg, in order to recover from OCD, you have to do what feels like emotional suicide over and over and over and over again until it no longer feels like emotional suicide.
Right.
So that's what I did. I started going wild with that shit and doing hard stuff for me, scaring the shit out of myself. And then I got free of it.
Yeah.
So it was like what feels like emotional suicide. Later, I didn't know about the title because it was triggering for a lot of people with the word suicide. Anyway, but that's what gave me my life back.
So for me, my experience with OCD is it's manifested itself in that moral scrupulosity way, an obsession with being a good person, not wanting to hurt people, especially the people I care about most in my life. So if that's my parents, my family, a girlfriend, a relationship, something like that, it loves to attack the thing you care about most. I mean, that's what it's done for me.
Yeah, that's what it does.
And but then, I feel like I've been pretty lucky with it. Like it's very sporadic for me. I feel like for you, it's something you've always battled.
Right.
Even though you've grown so much with it, I feel like it's kind of a consistent for you.
Yes, it is.
For me, it fully vanishes from my life, and then it can appear from certain triggers.
Yours is situational.
Situational OCD, but that can last for 6 months.
Exactly.
You know, and then it can disappear for 6 months.
And I think one of the keys with that is we caught yours early.
Right
away.
Is there a genetic component to it?
Yeah. They said there's like at least a 25% genetic component to it.
Got it.
Okay. That doesn't mean if somebody in your family has it, another one's going to get it. But
no,
yes,
but
there is.
It can play a factor.
But what I'm saying is we caught yours early.
Right.
Mine went 17 years.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It's more deeply, deeply ingrained.
I had ingrained these patterns in my brain with this stuff.
Right.
You didn't have that.
Right.
Jumped right on the shit. Mm-hmm. It's still painful, and you still got to push yourself. But yeah, I think that might be part of it. And you also, you're raised different than I was raised. I was raised, in a more rigid, controlling situation and setup, where
stuff like that probably isn't very talked about much or understood. OCD, mental health.
Right, exactly. And that kind of environment is where OCD just grows and goes wild.
A controlling.
It's all about control.
Yeah.
OCD's all about control.
Yeah, the more control, the more certainty you want.
And the less you get.
Yeah.
That's right.
For me, the way it manifested itself most recently is health OCD.
Yes.
An obsession with odd symptoms or sensations in my body. A headache, and immediately catastrophizing it. Oh my God, does this headache mean I have a brain tumor?
Right on.
Does this pulsing sensation in my knee mean I've got cancer in my leg?
Right.
And so you spiral and you immediately go to the worst case scenario.
Right.
And then I found myself almost manifesting more weird sensations because I'm watching my body.
100%.
Because you're obsessively watching
100%.
yourself, so you're looking for it. And then I actually ended up going to the emergency room 2 times because I was convinced that I had something going on with me.
Yep.
And they checked everything out and I was completely good.
Yep.
And then just a matter of time after going through that, after actually doing some of the exposure exercises that you had me do, specifically the note cards, which are how would you best explain? I love note cards. All the symptoms started to subside.
Fucking right.
As I started going through that. And so how would you describe the note card process?
I don't remember exactly because I do a lot of that with people and with myself, but exactly how we were using the note cards with you, the flashcards, the 3x5 index. Was it to remind you of the fear? It's the exposure.
You write down the thought.
Right, the thing that freaks you out.
The fearful, you write down, I am having a headache right now,
and then
I am afraid that means I have a brain tumor.
Right on.
You write it out,
right,
and then you force yourself to read it. Feel the feelings and the anxiety and the rush and the panic that brings up.
Yes.
Let it reach its max point of panic and fear. And then eventually it will subside is the idea.
And what
it
would
does.
happen?
And it goes away.
Did it?
Yeah, it did.
Fucking right.
Because then I think the idea is what? That you expose yourself to something so much that you become tired of it. And then it doesn't affect your system.
Yes, that's the great way to say it. And a little more specific on it, what happens is, so the index cards are just another form of exposure.
Right.
It can be speaking into a radio recorder that loops every 15 seconds the fearful thought, and you put it on your ears and you go for a walk for an hour and you listen, you let it fuck you up. Commit emotional suicide. I'm exposing myself to what I'm freaked out. That's what you did. And that's what gave you your fucking shit back, your life back.
Yeah.
So you do it. And what happens is you're telling your brain, see, our brain is designed to keep us in survival mode, to keep us alive. So if we show any concern about anything, our brain is actually stupid and archaic, and it interprets it as danger. Mm-hmm. When we show fear and concern, it interprets it as danger. So what's the opposite of fear and danger with what you're scared about? You say, come on. Well, okay, that's telling your brain I'm not scared. When you write the thought down on an index card, you're clearly not scared.
You're welcoming it.
You're welcoming it. You're showing your brain, your brain's always watching. It's like, oh, this isn't that important. You keep doing it and doing it. Your brain gets the message. Your fear system, your amygdala, your fight or flight system, it shuts the fuck down and you're free of it.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like OCD is such I don't know what the word would be, maybe a cousin to anxiety and depression.
100%.
I feel like it just immediately feeds those.
100%. They're wrapped in there like a swirly ice cream.
They're all wrapped together. And sometimes you don't even realize what you're dealing with is OCD. But a lot of times people will just say, oh, I have anxiety or panic attacks or all these things. And you don't realize that anxiety and those panic attacks are a result of an obsession
That's right.
that you can't get rid of. And it's not always that, but like
Not always that,
sometimes
but yeah.
it's that.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that is important is to say we're not medical professionals.
No.
We're not medical professionals, but he is a life coach. He is an OCD life coach. He's got countless clients, helps people. He is fantastic.
Because I suffered so much.
Because you suffered from it.
And
So
I
you
came
have,
out of the fucker.
You have practical, real world, real life experience.
In the trenches.
And honestly, I feel like that's the best because it's very hard to find good help.
Yeah, I like to work with people that are talking to a therapist, seeing a therapist, and that they need the motivation and the boots on the ground insight as to do what they're supposed to do with the stuff.
Yeah, a partner with the therapist. You have the medical professional, and then you are that coach.
Absolutely. And some people just like life coaching and they struggle. They got anxiety or general stuff or whatever.
Right.
May not have a therapist. They may have a therapist. We just work on fear and courage.
Right.
We do what you got to do and move towards your fear. Walk into it. It's the same with business. It's the same with life. If you run away from everything you're afraid of, what are you going to have? A very, very, very small life.
Yeah.
In a small world. And that sucks.
It does.
If your life is too comfortable and too easy, you die early, and that ain't a good idea.
Yeah.
Mix it, put yourself to the test. You'll go out of your fears and you'll be more successful, happier, everything.
The mindset, I feel like it's a very similar mindset and approach. You have this mindset with OCD. It transcends across the board to accomplishing your goals, dreams, life. It's the same concept. If you're gonna
stuff.
From anything I've learned in my young 31 years on this planet, is doing hard shit. 9 times out of 10, doing something that puts you out of your comfort zone that feels really hard and really scary is what is the key to growth. Bring it in.
Bring it in.
Bring it in. So
wow.
But I feel like that's OCD. I mean, in a sense, it's that same approach from OCD.
100%.
You're doing something that feels like death, that scares the shit out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do that, that's usually how you get better.
Yes, and that's your fuck you to it.
Right.
Which fires me up.
And I think one of the biggest things that people should know is true OCD recovery doesn't feel good. It's not fun.
No.
And that's the thing I know you've told me that you've spoke with people and told them you're not their guy if they want a coddly feel good approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You are not the guy for that.
That's right.
Like the real key to achieving and getting better is by going through the hard feelings.
Being a warrior.
You're not going to feel good. You're going to feel sick to your stomach.
Right. You're going to feel sick to your stomach.
Because you're exposing yourself to the fear.
That's right. And that ain't fun.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit who you are.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
And like I said, that's across the board in life. I mean, with me, I've had a lot of fears in my life.
Yes.
And I do have a lot of fears in my life. One of them is flying on planes.
Yes.
And so I have these illogical fears of plane crashes. And so I found the more I get on planes, the more I'm forced to do it, the lesser it gets. The lesser the anxiety and the intensity gets.
Yes.
Because I'm exposing myself to doing the thing over and over again. You're kind of exhausted of panicking.
Right.
I mean, I remember taking an 11-hour flight to London and I had anxiety because I'm used to these couple-hour flights, but this thing was 11 hours.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, I'll black out from anxiety if I stress out for 11 hours.
Right.
So at one point, you're just exhausted.
Right.
You're shot.
Right. It runs its course.
Yeah.
It cannot continue. It cannot.
I remember.
Unless you jump out.
I remember the first time I had experiences with OCD. I was a freshman in college. It was the same exact time that you experienced in your life.
Yep.
I was a freshman in college. It started with homesickness.
Yep.
And it, just like you.
Mine.
Yeah. And then it was manifesting itself in this other weird way, which came to discover was OCD. And you told me, you go, get to the fucking gym. Go.
Yeah.
Run on the treadmill.
Last thing you wanted to do.
And I remember you called me after the gym to ask how it went. Do you remember what I said?
Yes, I remember.
What did I?
You said it's better if you say it.
Well, you said, do you feel better?
Do you feel?
And I go,
you said you told me what you did. You
right. I ran on the treadmill. And you go, how did it go?
You cried the entire time.
I go, well, I listened to music and I had tears streaming down my face
the entire
time I was running on the treadmill. And you go, do you feel better? I go, not really. And you go, good, go back. And I was exhausted.
Did you?
I don't know. I think I went back the next day.
I think you said, actually, Dad, I do feel a little bit better.
Yeah, because I didn't want to go.
I do feel, I said, okay.
At that point, I was going to run a triathlon. I was exhausted. I was fucking exhausted. I couldn't run anymore. So, no, but that's a key is when you run and you work out.
Kick your own ass.
Because what really is that? Because we
I'll
talk
tell you
about it.
what
What
that
is it?
is.
Your fucking mind is
Exercise is
distracted?
the other thing. Here's what happens. It's one of the keys to OCD recovery is physical movement, physical exercise. And what happens is when we exercise, and I'm not a scientist and I'm not a doctor and I'm not a therapist, but when we exercise, our body releases feel-good chemicals
Yeah.
that affect our brain.
Right.
Dopamine, serotonin, whatever the neurotransmitters are, exercise, the adrenal gland, all of that stuff fires.
Right.
And you will start feeling better.
Yeah.
And when you start feeling better, your fear level drops.
Yeah.
Your fear level drops and you are less scared. And I just said that your fear level
And you take
drops.
it.
I just kind of lost my train of thought. Yeah. It happens once in a while.
And it takes the edge off. It takes the fucking edge off.
Absolutely takes
I mean,
and you get a different, you can't think your way into that
Yeah.
state. You have to act your way.
Yeah.
You can't be lazy and recover from OCD. You
Correct.
got to move.
One of the biggest keys, I think if somebody, I don't belong to a gym or I don't whatever.
I don't either.
Movement.
Fucking
Movement.
A.
Just get out and start sweeping.
Just get out
do
and start
something.
sweeping. Do the
Yeah.
dishes. Go out on the road and walk to the mailbox and walk
Yeah.
back. You are not going to feel worse when you get back.
Because it comes back to that same point from earlier. You're doing something you don't want to do.
You're something.
Forcing your brain.
That's the
You're defeating your brain. Because at the end of the day, mental health, OCD, all of this is you versus you. It's all in
That's
here.
exactly
Am I
what
right? So you're saying fuck you.
That's right.
To your thoughts and your
That's
anxiety.
right. That's that.
Because your thoughts and your anxiety just want to roll you up in a ball and lay in bed and sleep and suck on a bottle.
That's right. And
So-
you get worse.
Right. And so in this case, you're telling your brain, okay, you want me to do this,
Fuck
but
you.
but fuck you, I'm gonna do this.
And I'm willing to die.
Right. And I'm
I'm
willing
willing to fucking die.
and that really reminds me when I was dealing with the fear of the brain tumor.
Yep.
You told me that you have to accept that it could be one.
That's right.
You said, Hunter, the only way you're going to get better is you can't seek reassurance that
Nope.
it's not a brain tumor. You have to accept that there is the possibility
Yep.
that it could be something and that you are being negligent to recovery.
That's right.
Because that was my fear. What if there really is something going on, but because I'm trying to conquer this OCD, I'm resisting doing something smart that could actually help myself?
That's right.
Because that's what you do. Your mind, doesn't OCD always find a way to justify your compulsions?
Always.
Yeah.
Your mind will never free you from OCD.
Yeah. It'll find the most creative fucking ways
The most creative ways.
to get you to engage into compulsions.
You nailed it.
And so you made it very simple. You said you have to accept the possibility that you do have whatever that thing is
That's right.
that you're afraid of.
That's exactly
And that
right.
made me sick to my stomach.
And that you're risking being negligent.
Right.
And you're willing to do it
Yeah.
to get over OCD, fucking period.
You have to risk.
No matter what happens.
For me, it was risking being irresponsible.
There it is. That was your recovery.
Yeah.
That was your exposure.
Risk it.
Risk it. I have people say to me, oh, well, I feel like I'm going to throw up. I said, fine, throw up. Throw up. When you're done puking, get back on your exposures.
Yep.
Oh, well, I think I'm going to pass out. Pass out.
Good.
Give a fuck.
Pass the fuck
When
out.
you wake up, get back on your exposures. Your number one job is to recover from OCD. It is not to not throw up. It is not to not pass out. It is not to keep yourself healthy and alive. It is to recover from OCD. And the way you recover from OCD is you risk in your mind dying or your greatest fear, and you proceed anyway. When you develop the balls for that and you put it into action, you get to be like you and I and so many other people that implement this. You get your life and you get free again. You got one life. You're going to let fear take it? What kind of shit is that? That is fucked.
Yeah.
Imagine dying on your day and you
And
look
you-
back and you know you didn't do because you were afraid. That applies to anything in life. Anything.
You just lived in fear. You let
You
fear
lived
dictate
in
your
fear
life.
because it was scary.
Because life goes like this.
like that.
It goes like that. And
Fuck fear.
Yeah, fuck fear.
Period.
Fuck
and
you.
fuck OCD and
fuck
fuck
me,
you and fuck me. Fuck everything.
Just fuck everybody
Fuck this.
for a few hours.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how you got to go.
Got it. And I feel like I love thinking about the key things that I did or that you shared that helped me get over it. And one of the things I remember you telling me is, if you said, Hunter, if somebody had a gun to your head right now,
Yes.
and if you got the wrong answer, they were going to shoot you. And the question was, is this OCD or is this real?
Your best guess.
And my best guess, and if I get it wrong, they're going to pull the trigger.
That's right.
And every time you asked me that, my answer was, it's OCD.
Bingo. The gun test.
The gun test.
And you must follow your answer to recover. Is that a guarantee? No. But it shows you your true self.
Right.
And to thine own self be true. Nothing's greater than that.
Mm-hmm.
Follow that to your grave. Follow that. Gun test. Your best guess.
Yep.
No. Fine, then fuck it. Then fuck OCD. You move.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't give a fuck. Could be. I move. Because when I'm not here one day, I want to be thought highly of. I want my children to know I live like a fucking man so they can.
Yeah.
I want my family to know I want to be this. I don't want to regret my life the way I lived. No. To thine own self be true. I think it's bullshit. Gun test. I'm moving like it is. Done. And you know what happens when you start doing that? What happens?
Freedom.
It's powerful shit. And like you said earlier, you can take this into life.
Every other
Not
area
just
of life.
OCD.
Accomplishing your goals, doing something you're afraid of, taking a risk, making that call, walking up to that girl.
Yeah, everything.
And across the board.
Exercising because when you don't want to, and getting in shape or whatever. Fuck getting in shape. But exercise, I don't like to think of the end result. I like to think of the process.
It's not about the look.
No,
it's not about the appearance.
When you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And you won't be disappointed with the results.
Right.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
true.
it is.
I've experienced it. And that's what I work with a lot of people. And the neat thing is there's so many connections to it with just life, like we talked about. With business, with people being afraid, with people not living the life that they love because they think they have to live a certain way in order to survive financially. What is this survive all about?
Right.
What is survive all about?
No.
Do you think you're living for fucking ever? And I think that's the trick our mind plays on.
Yeah,
us.
we forget.
We forget that we don't live forever.
Yeah, we forget there's an expiration.
That is so perfect, Hunter.
Yeah.
We forget.
We forget. Well, you get caught up in routine. You get caught up in life. And I feel like that is one of the biggest mindset shifts, or just maturity or growth, or just living more years. A few years ago, as I became so in touch with the idea of mortality.
I remember.
And it's a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
Because if you let that rule you, it can make me it can be depressing.
Mm-hmm.
It can be sad, all of those things. But then on the flip side, when you're in touch with that, you're like, man, I got to fucking live. I got to live life to the fullest.
Right.
I'm not going to be dictated by a 9-to-5 or by people's expectations of me or by material things or any of that. And listen, I'm not some saint when it comes to those things. Believe me, I love my fair share of material items and all of that. But I feel like to have that as a reminder to jolt you back into reality is so important. Because somebody can just numb out.
That's right.
For the majority of their life.
They're right. They numb out.
And you gotta be like, all right, man, I was 7 years old yesterday running around on the farm.
Right.
And I'm 31. And am I happy with the way I've lived my life up to this point? What do I want to accomplish the next 5 years, the next 20 years, the next 40 years? You know?
Right. What am I holding back on?
Yeah. What am I holding back on? And I try to do that. I try to do the things that scare me.
Right. I know you do.
And when I do those things, 9 times out of 10, they turn out great. Right. And even if they don't, I'm glad I saw that thing through. Right. Because I know I don't have the fear and the regret of what if. At least I did it.
Exactly.
This podcast could suck. It could fall on its ass. But at least I did it.
Absolutely.
And I explored it, and we had fun with it, and we got to do all these things, and we had a memory. I would so much rather live that way than living safe and careful and small.
Absolutely.
Because you got limited time.
You frickin' said it. We forget.
Yeah.
We have limited time.
We numb out.
Or we numb out. We blind ourselves to it and
Right.
don't look at it. That is a bullshit way to live. That is a bullshit way to live. Be honest, be true, and frickin' go after it. And here's the other thing about some of this stuff. When you have an emotion, anxiety, fear, worry, depression,
Right.
you mentioned that, you get down, okay, there's a whole nother piece to all of this.
Yeah.
And that is how to manage the feeling that you're having, which sucks, on an internal level in your body, not your mind. Get out of your mind.
Mhm.
Drop into your body where the feeling is, the emotion. That's where the recovery is. That's where the freedom is. It's in the body. Frankly, that's where your life, I'm going a little spiritual, but it's how I feel, where your life force is, where your being is, what's the difference between a dead person laying there and a person that's sitting there alive? There's a life force. And I have found, and so have a ton of other people, that it's in your being, it's in your body. When you connect to that, it's not Hunter, it's not I'm your dad, it's something different. Now you got some power.
Mhm.
It's spiritual, it's beyond. You have to experience it to do it. So, but my other point is when an emotion hits you and you feel depressed and down, I have learned that you can open to it. Because what we do is we close, we resist internally. We don't want to feel that bad feeling. That makes it grow.
Mhm.
We're showing our brain how important it is.
Mhm.
No.
Open to it.
Open to the pain.
And that can mean literally opening physically.
Opening physically. And I'll do that. I'll put my hands out.
Right, because then
If it's really bad.
that triggers the mental opening.
The mental opening.
By opening
and the other thing I'll
physically.
do when a powerful, distressing emotion comes in, what I'll do is when I open to it, it feels like it's overwhelming, like it can take me down the river. Okay. And it can.
Right.
So what I've learned is sit up straight. The more distressing it feels, the more open you get and the straighter you sit up. Because when you sit up, there's something about sitting up straight and standing up straight. And it's powerful.
Right.
Somebody I was coaching told me, that whole thing about sitting up straight made all the difference in the world with these horrible feelings. And so you look at them, you open to them, you allow them, and you sit up straight, and you don't get washed away with them, but you allow them.
So much of this stuff is physical. The physical can dictate the mental.
It does.
And so if you're living small,
and you think it's the other way.
When you live small, you think small.
That's
when
right.
you live big, you think big.
You nailed it. We think our brain and our logic and our rationale and our mind and our thoughts and how we figure out shit is the key. It's not jack shit.
Right.
There is this other mysterious thing in our being that is that life force. And when you join with that, and emotionally, when you go into your being and your body and you allow the distressing feelings to be there and you make space for them, make room for them. I heard this before. The feelings.
Yes.
See, with the thought, drop down to the feeling. Don't even fuck with the thought. You got the thought. There's a feeling behind it.
Of how it affects your body.
Yes, go there. Don't even waste time here.
Yeah.
The thought's only to get you into your body.
Yep.
So you got the thought. Now there's a feeling, a negative feeling. Go there.
Allow that feeling.
Make room for it.
Yeah, because I notice, like I've already said, you want to, when you have a negative feeling, you want to tense.
You want to tense
you
and go
get
down.
Small. You want to get down.
Yes, sir.
And so it's scary to do this.
That's right.
To do that. It actually feels scary. You feel it. Right. I'll feel it fluttery in my stomach.
That's right. And you get up straighter even when you feel it's going to take you. I'll literally sit up straight and like this, and then you let it be there. And it gets absorbed in you, but you don't get absorbed in it.
Right on.
You're bigger than that.
Yeah.
Because you're opening. It's a fucking shit leaves.
You're better than that, Rock.
Thank you. Holy fuck.
When life hits. Or how's it go?
You hit harder. Right. When life hits you.
When life hits, you don't blame him or her or anybody. You're better than that, right?
Yeah, just stay with you're better than that. The other part of that was fuck. Yeah, but that's right. You hit it.
He's right.
Right.
He's
right. Austin, so when life hits you hard, what do you do? What do you do when life hits you hard, Austin?
When life hits you hard, baby.
What?
Babe, what did he say?
Oh, fuck. You know what? Forget it.
Did he?
You don't even know.
He's right.
You don't even know what the fuck we're talking about. No, but there is so much to that. And it's the big word that they use is counterintuitive. It is the opposite of what you think. The way to handle your distressing thoughts, your distressing feelings is opposite to the way you think.
Yes.
Your thinking is so small, and we think thinking is so big. Feeling is big.
Yeah.
We need to feel more.
We give so much power to up here.
And it's all bullshit. It's
all
so
bullshit.
limited.
Yeah.
It's so limited. If you want to convey something to me, can you 100% do it with your words?
No.
No. Words are based on logic and rationale and cognition.
And 9 times out of 10, I can tell you this from being an actor, 9 times out of 10, what people don't mean what they say.
Right.
It's
because words or language is limited.
Correct.
Just like the mind is limited.
Correct. Yes.
Thoughts are limited.
Yes.
Language is limited. Logic is limited. They don't mean what they say.
Right. They don't mean what they say.
They're not lying.
No.
So that's the whole point. Get out of your head.
Get out of your head.
Get into your body and feel. Number 2, if it's overwhelming, sit up straight, open to it, put your hands out. Yeah. Imagine being open. Number 3, if it's still overwhelming, get off your ass and go move physically.
Fucking right.
Your being will change when you move. You can't think your way out of it.
If you want to feel better,
If you want to feel better.
Move.
Yeah, but this thought, man, yeah, but I'm fucked. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
It will change when you physically get active.
Yeah.
And when you push yourself beyond your comfort zone. There was a study that was done that people that live on cobblestone streets compared to people that live on paved, smooth asphalt or concrete streets across the board were mentally more healthy and resilient and had more fulfilled lives than those that lived on perfectly paved street. And they studied it and studied it and studied it. And all they could come up with was that the cobblestones made it more difficult, their life. They had to balance and think and move and watch. They were more alive. So
because a simple task like walking.
Because a simple task like walking.
Wasn't as simple.
Wasn't easy or as simple. We think an easy life is the way to go. No. Oh, I want to retire and just sit in the sun and just do nothing.
Now, I think an important thing to mention, though, is that doesn't mean life needs to feel hard.
No.
And you need to live a hard life forever.
I don't mean that at all.
I feel like a key component of this is if you want to live a happy, fulfilled life, and if you want to be able to achieve the goals that you have, early on, you can really set yourself up by making certain sacrifices and doing hard shit.
That's right. Right.
And then you really can enjoy
later
on in life.
You really can enjoy later on in life. And I'll even say this. And even later on in life, you enjoy the shit out of it. Yes. But you always know that making it too damn easy, even then, is not going to last. It's not sustainable.
Some of the most successful people in the world
there you go.
Never really retire.
See that?
They can't.
You can't.
It's not a feel-good thing. I mean, you start to...
You stay active.
Like, fuck, what am I doing here?
Right, exactly.
You got to find something. And I feel like that's such a important factor with it. Wow, that's gold.
It is gold.
That's some gold shit right there.
It's absolutely gold. And you think, oh, well, if I'm always doing stuff, not always, but, if I'm doing things I don't like, then I'm not going to be happy. You actually are happy, and then you become happy when you're pushing yourself where the switch over happens much quicker.
Yeah.
Where you go from unhappy to happy.
Yeah.
You've seen it. You know it, because I know how you push yourself.
God. Wow. I got to say, it's pretty rare to be able to talk about this kind of stuff with your dad. I mean, I think that was the whole kind of point of this podcast and the title of it. What do you say, Dad? A father-son podcast. Because I feel like in general, being able to talk about this stuff with anyone is vulnerable, rare, weird, not an easy thing for most people, but being able to share it with your dad. I mean, really cool. I don't know about you, but I feel like that's just not a common thing. Being able to talk. I mean, I don't know.
No,
if you had that experience
I don't think it certainly wasn't common in my generation. I don't think it is a common thing.
Right.
I think it's a beautiful thing, not only for a son with his father, but for a father with his son.
Yeah.
It truly, for me, it takes on a spiritual dimension of, that's the experience. The only word I know how to use is spiritual. It feels beyond. It feels spiritual. It feels connected. It feels, when I as a father, which is even a limited word, can talk to you as we do, it sounds strange, but what it is it goes generations beyond for me. It's
Well, it is, because it will continue to pass on.
Yeah, and
for
that's really the
generations.
reality. And it's
Yeah.
just, it's spiritual, it's beautiful, it's real, it's human, it's God, it's and none of those words mean it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't
but
even
it
encompass
is,
it.
but
yeah.
it's the best I can explain.
Yeah, words don't. There aren't really words that can.
Right, there aren't
wrap
words.
it
Like,
up.
when you say, that's a tree. Well, is a tree the name itself?
Right.
No.
So much deeper than that.
It's so
yeah.
much deeper. If we didn't know if we didn't have that name for the tree, is that thing, and call it tree, it would have a whole lot deeper meaning.
Yeah.
So now we're going deep. I like that.
Okay, Austin. So Austin Powers is a. We've been imitating Austin Powers since I was probably 5 years old.
Yeah.
I mean,
Probably shouldn't have been watching Austin at 5 with me.
yeah, maybe it wasn't 5. I don't know. Maybe it was 7. But from a young age, I've
Could've been
been
3.
watching Austin Powers, and it has completely informed my style of humor. I mean,
Absolutely.
we've been imitating. Imitating Austin for my whole life.
And we
Just
laugh
about.
our asses off like we did 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
I know. And the cool thing about this podcast, this show conversation, is a lot of the guests we're going to be having on are people who are fathers who have dealt with OCD, businessmen.
They're going to be real.
People who have been through dark times, dark shit, and come through it, or in the middle of dealing with it.
And want to talk about it.
Yeah, and want to talk about it. Because life's not perfect. It's not clean. It's messy. And I think that's what's great about this podcast and the style we're doing this thing. We're not in a podcast studio. We've got good equipment. We've got good audio. But this is really meant just to be an authentic sit-down conversation and, having people benefit from hearing real-life experience with that kind of shit. And an obscure thing like OCD, because like you said in the beginning, OCD, people know what OCD is to an extent, to how it's portrayed in Hollywood and mainstream media, but there are so many other minute details of what it really is, and then just how it transcends across. And then like we're touching on business, motivation, family dynamics, father-son relationships, all the things. And I think that's what I really want out of this, is for people to hear a firsthand experience when it comes to those subjects. I mean, what about you? I feel like that's kind of
what
the same.
I want. 100%. What I was going to say is OCD, left to its own devices, will destroy you. There's the choice. There's the choice. It's nothing less than that. You're either a fucking warrior and you say, fuck you, or you're destroyed. OCD, left unchecked to its own devices, is an insidious fucking monster and will destroy your fucking life. And there's no baby shit about it. You go to fucking war. Just like people in the military go to the front lines. You think they're always fucking feel good about doing it? No, but they goddamn do it. They're willing to die for it. That's what you do with OCD. When you do it, you get your life back. Period. Nothing less than that. I think that's why I dig talking about OCD so much, because it's so intense.
Right. You are fighting.
And I'm intense.
True OCD recovery is fighting for your life.
It's fighting for your life.
Because it is.
And you will win. You will win.
If you're willing to do the shit.
If you're willing to do the shit and fight to the death, you will win.
Yeah.
But you can't bluff it. No. And I think that's why I dig it so much, because I'm so fucking intense, and there's nothing more intense than OCD recovery. Fuck OCD. I talk about OCD recovery.
Right. Right on. Yeah, fuck the obsession with the disease.
Fear is powerful. Fear is incredibly powerful. You know what's more fucking powerful? Courage. Fucking courage. That's what's more. You know what courage is? Being scared shitless, ready to throw up, ready to pass out, and you fucking do it anyway. Not sure if you'll die or not. Courage trumps fucking fear every day of the week. Fuck you, fear.
Now, a lot of people, OCD is so consuming with their life, I mean, that sometimes it's just enough to have to focus on your own recovery. Why was it for you such a factor to then go and help others?
I think because mine was so powerfully debilitating for so long that I built these grooves in my brain, like without getting the right help, that it was so debilitating and overwhelming that one of the recovery methods for me was fucking coaching, motivating, helping other people. They say when you teach, you learn twice.
Wow.
So me helping others was really helping me.
It was a form of your own recovery.
100%.
Yeah.
It's not like I was some angel that wanted to save. It really helped me.
Yeah, but still, I mean, there's no getting around
no,
it. But
no,
yes, no, I understand.
But
it
there
was
was both.
twofold.
It was twofold.
Yeah.
I didn't want people to go through what I went through, and it would help me when I would help them.
Right. I remember being in grade school and high school, and you used to host those free support groups.
Oh, yeah.
For people suffering from OCD, anxiety, and depression.
12 years every week.
Yeah. I remember they'd come to this building in a conference room.
Right.
And you had like a room full of 10 to 20 people.
Yeah.
And you go around and I mean, what was the idea of that? People would share their experiences and you would talk to them through
it was just an OCD support group where we would all share our experience, talk about OCD, what we learned about it, what we learned about it in therapy. I would get up there and provide motivation and in the trenches insight because I was coming out of it, and I would talk about not giving a shit what people think about you. They think you're anxious or whatever. And what I would do is demonstrate. We'd be talking, and I'd be talking to everybody. I'd be standing up, and I took a bottle of water and just poured it straight over my head. Straight over my head.
So you took a bottle of water and poured it on yourself?
Straight over my head.
What was the point in that?
Just
what was the lesson?
To be vulnerable to sometimes there was 30 people there, just to be vulnerable to everybody present.
Just to show, hey guys,
I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
This is how to live. And they'd be like, another thing I would do is I'd take all my papers and all my books and throw them all over the place up in the air. And
because the idea behind
another
that,
thing I do is I'd roll around on the table, stand up on the table, dance, roll on the table, and I'd put my hair like this, and I had long hair, and I put it straight up in the air and just be like this.
You look like an insane person, and
it's so freeing.
You guys see that? You can look
Hi,
yeah,
and it's so freeing.
Yeah. God, you look really fucked up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so the idea, I mean, so
they can be free with their fucked upness, and then they're free.
So no, but like if I was to translate that to somebody that maybe wasn't out of their minds,
they weren't out of their minds, Hunter. You're missing it.
No, I'm not saying they were out of their minds. I'm saying for like me,
the power of vulnerability is what we're talking about.
Yeah, because OCD is all about being OCD recovery is vulnerable.
Fucking
so
right.
So that was your way of saying, hey guys, I'm here with you.
Absolutely.
I'm here with you.
And I was illustrating for them and demonstrating for them how to do it.
Right.
Hence the
hair,
and rolling around, throwing my papers everywhere, and they'd be jumping up trying to put the hair down.
Yeah, roll. No. Oh. Do what you want, but yeah, roll around in dirt and shit. Yeah. Whatever.
No, I would roll around on the table and I'd throw my papers around in my books, and they'd be all jumping up trying to get them again. I go, no, let them be. This is an exposure.
Right, because OCD is about control.
I take my index cards. I had like 450 of them, and I'd throw them all up in the air. I had them in order beforehand, and it hurt me to do it. Everything was organized. You know how I am. I like to be organized. And I just fucked everything up. OCD is about control.
So for those of you who don't know, my father refuses to have one single surface for his papers, for his notepads, anything like that. He's got the couch ottoman covered in papers. And then he also has usually a kitchen island or a kitchen table, and then he has his desk. So he has TV tray. So anywhere from 2 to 4 workspaces. And
I like to see my stuff.
And I remember in particular, because I'm in town visiting him. I remember in particular yesterday, his papers were laying out, and he asked Marianne, his lovely wife, Marianne, did you touch anything? And
I knew she did. And I knew it.
No.
Oh,
yesterday she did not, and she goes, no.
Oh, that was a fan that was on it, moved it.
Yeah. So
I don't like people fucking with my shit.
If the pen is slightly tweaked to a 90-degree angle,
I know someone was fucking with it.
You know somebody was fucking with it. So that's an example of control. And so you were showing them, hey guys, I'm in here with you.
Right.
I'm in the trenches.
That's exactly.
And we're
dear God Almighty. Let me see. What the fuck?
So this was the message. Fuck
go straight
fear,
up with it.
Fuck you, fuck me.
That's right. Know. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I feel like
dang it, you do not look good. But fuck it, that's beautiful. It's no control.
Alonzo, how do I look, brother? Sharp?
It's no control.
Our sound guy, Alonzo, he's covering all the bases here.
It's so true. Control with type A type people, control can keep you a prisoner.
Got it.
Absolute and total prisoner.
Yes.
And I grew up, and I grew up wanting to be, in a family that's like, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, kick ass and have it together and
Fight,
do all this.
fuck feelings, all that shit.
What? Fuck did you just say? Fight, fuck, feeling. What are we talking? What happened?
No, I'm saying you were raised in an environment that was kind of about like, oh yeah, like fuck how you're feeling, go through it, fight, be a warrior type.
No, it's totally opposite.
I thought
recovery does that with OCD. So I wasn't raised with that. I had to learn that. My dear God. Are you Hunter?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's rephrase it.
What you were saying. Go ahead. Continue.
Language is limiting, obviously.
Yeah.
What happened?
What did you say about being in an environment?
I was raised with a lot of control.
Right.
A lot of control.
Right.
And it was about
We don't.
having your. I like to yell.
No. It's okay.
It was about having your shit together all the time.
Yeah. Presenting well.
Yeah, just let me finish it because you're going to fuck it up. It was about having your shit together, presenting well, and how you came off. And it was a lot of control. It was a lot of effort,
Right.
and a lot of discipline, but it was a lot of control. And it was too much for me. Too much. I had to learn in life to recover from OCD how to let go of control. Now, one thing it did help is when I had this enemy OCD, the discipline to say, fuck you.
Right.
That was part of my upbringing.
Right on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The competitive spirit.
That discipline, the competitiveness.
That discipline to say, fuck you. But you got to know what to say, fuck you too.
Right. Absolutely.
And so you got to say, fuck you to control and be
Right
willing
on.
to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And experience, whatever.
Experience the hair.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the distinction.
And that's the cool thing. Like I said, we've got these badass guests coming up on this show. And these are guys from every walk of life. I mean, we got cowboys, we got businessmen, we got former NFL players, actors, fathers, guys that deal with this shit.
Guys that have emotional challenges and disabilities.
And have found ways to overcome it.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like that'll be great for people to resonate with.
And I do want to say one thing. There is nothing more powerful than, and I know this sounds cliche, but I'm going to say it because it's true, than really loving and caring for somebody. Like where you're in the trenches with them.
Yeah.
With no limits.
I mean, well, that's
no conditions.
That's what you've done.
But that brings people such a healing already.
Helping others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they know you're not bailing on them no matter the fuck what.
Yeah.
So love somebody that's struggling hard that you give a shit about. That's the best gift you can give them, is never to leave.
Yeah.
No matter what. And then healing will take place.
Right on.
Powerful.
So we're going to be doing this once a week. Right on.
We're
going to be doing this once a week, and we're going to be across all the platforms. We'll be posting on Instagram, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. If you guys have questions for my dad or for myself that you want answered, feel free to comment them. We'll do our best to address them all in the next week's episode.
Love it. Love it.
We'll do what we can with that. And
let's bring it in together, man.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want direct help, we got his contact info below. But yeah, man, this is what this is about. Just kind of a vulnerable talk about all the shit, man. So
vulnerability. Let's turn it up, baby.
Right on. Right on.
Love it.
Glad you guys are here. This is a cool journey we're both excited about. And
Hunter, you put this together. Thank you. Honest to God.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it.
Damn right. I love it.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in to the What Do You Say, Dad podcast. And yeah, we'll see you soon.